Hi everyone, this is just a short video to get back to the questions that people posted on the video yesterday. So a really big shout out to Laura, Kirsty and Martine. Thanks for posting your questions. If you've not had a chance yet to watch the video and you want to ask your own questions afterwards, then please do just put them in that same post and I will get back to you with answers to those. Okay, so let's start off with Kirsty's question. Kirsty has a 12 and 8-year-old and asked me, how would I go about homeschooling two kids? What approach would I take because of the age gap? And obviously they've got different needs. So Kirsty, I think I would say three things there. First thing I'd do is maybe try and get their routines to be similar. For example, doing exercise at the same time and doing their reading at the same time. Maybe they both start off with doing maths, for example, and also to have them working in the same room, because I think that helps as well. Sometimes my daughter sits next to me at my desk and we both get on with our own work, and it helps build that kind of working atmosphere. So I think that can be really helpful too. I would also enlist the help of your 12-year-old to teach your 8-year-old. I think that could bring several benefits to your 12-year-old, including boosting her self-esteem, reinforcing some of her own learning. So, for example, she might want to do things like listening to her younger sister read out aloud, or helping her with her times tables, for example, and play some games. Now, I know some people might be thinking, oh, but my kids would never get on, they'd never do that. But I would say give it a go anyway, because A, you've got nothing to lose, and B, it might really strengthen their bond. And maybe sometime in the future, they'll look back and say, oh yeah, I remember during that, that awful time, but I taught you your 7 times tables. Do you remember that? And I just think, there's a lot of benefits, I think. And of course, your 8-year-old means being taught by somebody else. So I think that could be a great one. And then the other thing I would say, Kirsty, is to have certain times during the homeschooling period in a day that is one-on-one. So they know that this time is for them. They've got your undivided attention. It's for you to help them with their learning. And then the other one can work independently or have an extra break or something like that. Okay. Now, the second one is from Laura. Laura explained in her question that her daughter is not really wanting to finish off tasks anymore. And it was so clear, Laura, from reading your comment, how hard you're working, to get your daughter to do a homeschooling, the 3 hours a day. And I could also feel your worry. So I really hope today that I can take that away a little bit for you. So in your situation, first thing to say is that 3 hours really is just a guide. Okay, you don't have to do 3 hours. My daughter often doesn't do 3 hours. She certainly hasn't done 3 hours today, and that's okay. Okay, so it's just a guide. So don't feel that you have to stick to that, because you don't. Now, in your situation, I would really take your lead from your daughter and the fact that she's obviously showing signs of not wanting to do it or getting a bit fed up. Because I think the absolute key thing for all of us is that we want our kids to continue to have a love for learning. And for me, if there's anything that compromises that, then I'm not going to do it, because that is just golden. Okay. So what you might want to do, a couple of ideas for you. First of all, you might decide, let's just take a complete break from this. Let's have a week off where she doesn't do any homeschooling at all. She might read for a bit, but she's not going to do any homeschooling for a week. And that might just serve to re-energize her. Secondly, you may want to look at how long you're doing the homeschooling. So maybe you want to, you could have the break or not have the break, but then change it to say, okay, we're just going to do an hour and a half. Okay, that's all it's going to be. and see how that goes. And again, be flexible within that. So you might, some days she might do 3 hours and love it, and all goes well. Other days she might do an hour, and then it kind of starts to go off a little bit. And that's where I'd stop. If I saw her getting frustrated or not happy, then that's where I'd stop. And finally, I would look at, what kind of learner is she? What's her learning style? What does she find easiest? So at the moment, is she spending a lot of those 3 hours sitting at a desk? But actually, she needs to be moving around a little bit more. Maybe she needs more breaks. Maybe she needs to get to be more physical. So change it around a bit. So this is, obviously this is just a short video, but I am more than happy to talk to you more about this should you need or want it. And finally, we've got Martine, who pointed out about, there's just so many resources out there, which is great for parents, so many websites, so many resources, that it can actually feel overwhelming. You can have a bit too much stuff. So Martine, what I would do is, first of all, I would use the website and resources that your school uses, because they're the ones that your daughter will be familiar with, and they're the ones that she'll be using once she goes back to school. So I definitely use those first and foremost. Then I would think about, well, what areas do I want resources in? So for example, do I want more maths resources? Then I would have a look around and see, just pick one or two sites that you're comfortable with and your child, your daughter is happy with too, and just use those. Now for us, we use BBC Bite Size, which I highly recommend, because they do daily lessons in a range of subjects actually, daily lessons, and they're specific to a year group. So really like that, and my daughter really loves that. We also use topmarks.co.uk. I think they're excellent. There's something called Hit the Button we use. If you don't know it, they do some maths there, times tables. You probably noticed that I'm always talking about times tables, and that's because it's something we're focusing on a lot right now. And I think Hit the Button's great for once your child has learnt a particular times table, then they can have practice in doing them really fast, because obviously at school they want them to be able to record them really quickly. And TT Rockstars is another one, and Spelling Shed is another one. And that's all we use. We don't use anything else. Obviously we use resources that the school gives us, but that's it. So I hope that was really helpful to you three, and seriously, just reach out to me if you want more tips or more help or more advice, then please just message me, okay? Because I'm only too happy to help. And for the rest of you, remember that if once you've watched the video, which I do recommend, a big shout out to Sue as well for doing it. I thought it was really helpful for parents. And you've got questions after that, just like these three parents did, then just jot your questions down in the video, and I will get back to you as well with some tips and some advice. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.